So in this video I'll be taking you right through this Volkswagen Passat and getting it painted. As you can see, it's already been primed up. If you want to see how to prime up, I've got other videos. You can click on this link and that will open up in a new window and you can see how to prime it and repair it as well. So you can see I've started by using one of these 800 soft pads and going around all of the corners, getting rid of all the shiny paint. If it's not shiny, my fresh paint won't stick to it. Also, I've got another video on the materials and tools that you'll need to get the jobs done, so you can also click here to have a link to that video too. But this one's just preparing and painting this Volkswagen. So as you can see now, I've got 600 grit on the orbital sander. I've sped it up just to stop you from getting too bored of watching me. Here I'm blowing it all off. All the edges are done. I've buzzed down all the flat areas with the orbital sander. Make sure you give it a really good dust off. It's essential to getting a nice clean job without much dust in it. So this is something I won't touch on too much because it takes years of practice to do colour matching. I'll give you a quick look at the colour. Basically you can look at your colour wheel and figure it out from there. But it does take a lot of time to figure out how to do some colour matching, so leave that one to the professionals. And here we are masking it up. I'm putting this special trim tape around the trims up the back there that lifts up the rubbers. Now we've got all the edges masked up, back masked. We'll throw some plastic over it. Make sure the plastic's up the right way or else the paint will flake off when you're painting. So whack that bit of plastic over and grab a nice sharp razor blade around all the edges and then tape it down. As you can see, I've sped it up just to stop you from getting too bored of watching stuff like this. If you want to see how to denib and cut and polish a car, there's also a link at the end of this video to a video I have about how to cut and polish. And also for the gun setup, I've got a link there to set up. I'll be using a DeVilbiss GTI Pro on this job, so if you want to know how to set that gun up or a SATA jet, I've also got different videos on that. So here you can see I'm giving it a wax and grease remover, which is the cleaning solvent to get rid of any wax and grease that may be on the panel. And next up we're using a tack rag, which is basically just a sticky cloth which should use the air at the same time, and this should get rid of the last dust particles that are on the panel. Always test spray your gun first, don't just start spraying on the panel because you never know, it might not be spraying properly. So the first coat we only put over our rub through areas or our primed areas, the parts that aren't already body colour. We'll give that a couple of minutes to dry, and then we'll put our second coat over the whole side, not the whole side where we're blending through to the guard and the back of the quarter panel, but just both over the whole of both of the doors, so the whole side is one colour and we don't have any blends there. Notice that I also paint through these door gaps. I don't actually paint right up to the door gap because sometimes you can get a big build up. It's not so much of a big deal on your base coat because you don't have a big build up on your base coat, but if you double up on the stroke on the door gap, you can end up getting big runs and big build-ups of paint, and they just don't look very good. So after this second coat of base coat, we'll let that tack off for a minute and we'll put some blending clear in the gun, which is just clear base coat, which aids the blend. And you can see I'm just putting that over everywhere that my colour's not going to be going, and it allows the base coat colour to land in that wet coat of clear base coat, and you won't see any difference in the colour if you do this. So now straight on with our last coat of base coat. Jack the pressure up a bit more on your last coat to get the metallic standing up. To get a nice effect in the metallic. So the pressure should be up at about 2 bar for this last coat. Nice and even. Try to always actually watch the colour go on, get the reflection of the light onto where you're actually spraying. You notice I don't actually let go of the trigger at the ends of each spray pattern. I just flick it out a little bit. And here we go to do the blend on the guard. It's actually quite easy when you look at it like this. All you need to do is just slightly flick the colour out over the guard. That's all it needs. Some people overcomplicate a blend and it ends up making it look worse. So as you can see, that's the base coats and metallics laying down nicely. It's not blotchy or patchy or anything. You can see I've only put the base coat colour over half of that quarter panel, so any difference in the colour you won't actually be able to see it once it's been cleared. You might have a 5% difference in the colour, but you won't see it. So here we go for our clear coat. Same thing, make sure you do a test spray and make sure you get your gun nice and close. As I said before, for more in-depth details on the setup of this spray gun, you can hang around at the end of this video. I have a link that you can click on and watch a more in-depth video of how to use the gun. So basically it's at about 2 bar pressure with this fluid tip on it. I use the HVLP tip on this GDI Pro, and you want to go about a fist width away from the panel. On this first coat, it just needs to be a closed coat, what we call a closed coat, which means that so that you cannot see any base coat through the clear. So you're not going for extremely wet quite yet, you just need to get the whole thing sealed down with a coat of clear. And in between coats, it depends on what clear you're using, what hardener you're using with the clear, and the temperature of the day and the spray booth. So I've given it probably about 3 minutes because I'm here in Western Australia, Perth, Western Australia, and it's quite hot over here, so I'm using normal hardener, but it'll still only take a few minutes to flash off in between coats. Just always be careful of areas like this where you've got the swage lines and the different shapes in the panel, that you don't get runs. You can get build-ups in those areas. So here we go with our second coat of clear. We'll start slowing down a little bit because you want it on a bit wetter. Same thing, 2 bar of pressure, nice and close, and just slow down just that little bit on this last coat. Hope you've enjoyed watching this video. Hope you've learned something out of it. If you like it, you can check out my Facebook page, give that a like, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's a link at the end of this video too. Same as the base coat, you can see I'm not actually pulling the trigger off at all. I've got that held flat out the whole time, and you're just flicking at the ends. and the overlap there is about 50-50 overlap, so you'll do one pass and then 50% of that pass of the size of that fan you'll go up onto your next pass. And again, observing, painting through those gaps. And that's this job pretty much finished. Again, we'll take it out the back and give it a polish once it's dried out and assembled. It's quite clean, there's only a handful of bits of dust in this. This is the car out the front, all finished off. Thanks for watching, and keep an eye out next week for the next episode. Thanks, bye.